Mullah Nasruddin's wife was in the kitchen stirring the rice pilaf when suddenly she heard clunk, 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 thud. And so she shouted, "Mullah, what was that?" And a muffled voice said, "Oh, it was nothing, darling. It was just my patchwork cloak falling down the stairs." And just then he staggered into the kitchen and his wife said, "Well, what was that big thud?" And he said, "Oh, perhaps it's because I was wearing it at the time." So there's a question that has been posed, and that question is, what is it that's present when stillness and movement meet? And perhaps now we're able to answer this question. Now there's that story about the young monk who every day was in the meditation hall, 5 a.m. in the morning, sitting in lotus position, practicing meditation. And the old abbot noticed this day after day. So one day the abbot asked the young monk, why are you meditating?" And the young monk was a little bit peeved at being disturbed in his meditations, but he answered rather brusquely, "I'm practicing to be a Buddha." And the old abbot asked, "Well, what makes you think that sitting in meditation is going to make you a Buddha?" And the young monk chose to ignore this question from this old monk. But after that, seeing that the young monk was not going to get into dialogue with him, every morning the young monk noticed that when he came into the meditation hall, there was the old abbot sitting with a brick and rubbing it with a piece of cloth. So after some days, the young monk could not resist the temptation to ask the old abbot what was he doing. And the old abbot said, "I'm making a mirror out of this brick." And the young monk replied, "But how can you make a mirror out of a brick?" The old abbot replied rather sternly, "And what makes you think that you could make a Buddha by sitting in meditation?" And at this, the young monk was quite shattered, and he looked at the old abbot and said, "Well, please, won't you tell me what it is that I must do?" And the old abbot said, "When the practice of the Buddha's precepts meets with the essence of the Dharma, there lies enlightenment." So we can ask ourselves, what is the meaning for us of the practice of the precepts? And what is the meaning? What is the essence of the Dharma? What is your realization of these two? And indeed, what does enlightenment mean for us now? What is the meaning of the practice of the precepts? the essence of the Dhamma, and indeed enlightenment itself. The answer to the question, what is present when stillness and movement and stillness meet? Thank you, thank you.